So you're thinking of waving the city goodbye and heading for the Himalayas. Hiking in the Himalayas is on many people's bucket list. And you may have heard of tea house trekking, but what is it really like? Nepal is one of those places where you never know when you might find a chicken under the dining room table, have a child eat off your plate, or see a man carrying a grown woman in a basket supported by his forehead. Well, first you have to get there. You can opt for an airplane instead of the bus for some of your journey, but that will only get you so far, and sooner or later you will have to put your faith in a driver. See link below for a bit more on transportation considerations. Once on the trail, we were surprised by how untrail-like most of the path felt. More like a road for people, which is what they truly are. They are convenient, well-trodden tourist trail, but the reason most of these are here in the first place is to support the communities that call these mountains home. Anything that they cannot grow or make themselves must be carried in by hand or beast. Stones hold up much better than dirt to this kind of traffic, and are so abundant that amazingly, there are still rocks left in the fields even after building all this. I wonder how long it took to build, and what the fields looked like before the stones were removed. We saw a bit of this construction in action. The animals out here provide us a frequent source of entertainment. At one stop, we were sitting at the table, and I looked down to see a chicken on the floor next to me with its head under the table. We all started laughing at how bizarre but perfectly normal it seemed here to have a chicken in place of a dog under the table. The owner noticed the chicken, grabbed it, put it in a basket in the closet, and put a basket over its head. Bedtime for the chicken, and certainly a fun way to finish off a night at a tea house. We kept our distance from the animals, but most seemed pretty harmless, with the exception of the pack animals. We quickly learned to recognize their bells and find somewhere to hide when we heard them coming. They don't mean to run you off the trail, but they don't seem to be conscious that their loads make them considerably wider. If you don't have a good spot to avoid them completely, at least make sure you are on the inside edge of the cliff and watch your head. As we moved on, the pack animals disappeared and were replaced by porters. The porters carried everything the towns needed, including construction supplies, rolled up metal roofs, sheets of plywood, fuel tanks, and more. One man had a covered basket that made a baby goat sound as it passed. Another man was carrying a small-grown woman who looked like she had been hurt in a large basket on his back. All these guys were incredibly strong and sure-footed. We suspect this helicopter was there to evacuate the injured woman. It may look like you just follow the roads, but there were a few places where going off-trail was actually safer. Our guide's knowledge was great at keeping us on the right route and keeping us safe. Here was one example where there was a bridge, but it was much safer to walk through the water. This is also why you want waterproof shoes. There was another section where we were crossing an old landslide area when a few small stones fell down on the path. We froze, not sure whether to go, stop, quickly back out of the way. Our guide's firm command of "go, go, go" was exactly what we needed. The tea houses dotting the trail here are basic, but make trekking here much more comfortable and enjoyable. They are incredibly varied, but they all had running water, limited electricity, a bathroom, beds, and most importantly, hot food and tea. Check the links below for photos and more details. This mountain is considered sacred and has never been summited, in part because the government protects it, and in part because of the treacherous terrain. The distinct shape sure made it look magical to us. The final push to base camp was the most trail-filling section. The golden grass seemed to shimmer as it waved in the sunlight, with the majestic mountain above it. The last stretch melted away, and soon were greeted by a flurry of color as the prayer flags fluttered in the wind. These flags may seem flimsy, but their objective actually is to slowly disintegrate, and it is believed that as they do, the prayers are released out into the universe. At camp, we were free to wander on our own. We followed one of the many rough trails up to what seemed to be a central monument or shrine. When we crested the hill, we found ourselves staring down into the huge rift separating us from the mountain. Annapurna's glacier shifted and creaked noisily below us, sitting in the void between this cliff and the mountains. The cliff we were on was part of a ridge, running away from base camp, covered with countless flags and several other shrines. The immensity and beauty of it all made us feel tiny and powerful at the same time. Standing on that cliff edge with the glacier groaning below us and the mountain towering above, felt very in touch with how fragile life is, and extremely privileged to see a place like this. This trek combines agrarian culture and rugged wild beauty with the comfort of a bed and a hot meal at every stop. We are avid hikers, and this was our second trek at a high altitude. We got a package that included a guide, porter, all lodging, meals, and transportation. This trek can and often is done independently, but for us, we felt the cost of the package was worth it to take the stress and uncertainty out of the experience. Especially in high season, it is nice to know after hiking all day that you'll be guaranteed a place to stay when you show up. Overall, I think this is for the adventurous traveler who doesn't mind being a little dirty. If you go into it thinking of it as camping, you'll be pleasantly surprised. But if you're expecting a hotel catering to tourists, you might be disappointed. We ate lentil soup with rice at least once a day for a week and loved it. It was flavorful, hot, filling, and slightly different each time. If you're looking for culture and natural beauty, this might be for you. If you're considering it or want to learn more, I have a photo blog of our full adventure and other resources linked below. I hope you find them helpful. Happy exploring! If you found this helpful, please help us by liking and subscribing. Thank you!